Fran's film room. It's time to open up this bad boy and bring in the Duff Man. Fran, how are you? Good to see you.
What's up, Fran?
What's up, guys? Yeah, obviously, look, it's going to be a little bit of a different feel for this breakdown. But look, I mean, at the end of the day, the Eagles have been living in this world where they win all of these one-score games. And if you are going to live in this world where you are going to play close games, you can't shoot yourself in the foot the way that they did with these penalties and with these mistakes on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. They made too many mistakes to come away with a win here.
Fran, I feel like somebody stole my dog.
Well, they
no ransom note
big
either.
Thing here's the big thing about that too, Vinny, is that you know how this goes. Like, you can't let Denver beat you twice. You have a short week turnaround getting ready for the Giants on Thursday night. This is one where this is going to hurt, I would imagine. So I would imagine those guys in the locker room right now don't feel too good, but they don't have a long time to let that sit.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of good news that they have to turn the page quickly, and you get the Giants coming up on Thursday, who lost in New Orleans to the Saints today. All right, let's talk a little bit about some of these penalties and these mistakes, Fran. And you do have some insight into what happened on that illegal shift penalty that on 4th and 4,
Garbage.
which was going to be just an unbelievable catch from Devontae Smith. Unfortunately, they didn't have all their their I's dotted and their T's crossed.
No, and we've talked about some of the sloppiness on offense over the last couple of weeks when we've done our tape breakdown episodes on Mondays, and this is a good example of just not being as detail oriented as you need to be. And this time it came back to bite them. And I actually thought that Romo, look, I'm with you that he did not have his best day, but he was on it for this one, because if you go to the NFL rule book and you look at the illegal shift, rule, and they've got videos with all these rules. One of the things that they show in the video is that if another wide receiver is adjusting pre-snap before a motion happens or before a shift happens, then it is incumbent on that second receiver. And he doesn't know, but he has to come to a full stop for at least a full beat before that ball is snapped. And we actually have the video of that play, I should say the stills from that play. So Julia, if you're able to go to motion 1 here on this play, and again, Romo pointed this out before this, at the snap of the ball, or right before the snap of the ball, rather. Bottom of the screen, you can see that you've got Jahan Dotson there, and he's checking with the ref to make sure that he is on the line of scrimmage or off the line of scrimmage. And before Saquon Barkley comes in motion, he steps up and adjusts his stance. As soon as that happens, well, now Saquon Barkley, he can't be in motion at the snap of the ball. So Saquon's going to come down to the bottom of the screen, and then he's going to go back to back into the backfield, and he's not in motion. So if we go to the next shot here, this is after he returns. You can see the ball is being snapped here from Cam Jurgens, and Saquon is not set. And so this was a good penalty. This was the right call by the officials here. And literally, if you go into the NFL, if you do a quick Google search of NFL illegal shift penalty, one of the clips they show is this is a penalty. I believe it was Tyreek Hill in the Dolphins game where he does a little return motion, goes into the slot. He doesn't sit after the receiver had adjusted pre-snap. It was the right call.
So, Fran, do you think it is taught to Saquon that he needs to stop for a beat just in case somebody else has adjusted? Or do you think it's because he can't know?
He can't know. Yeah.
But you should protect against it anyway, right?
And that's the thing in terms of where were they in the play clock? That could be a Jalen Hurts and Cam Jurgens thing, right? Because maybe the snap timing is off on this one.
Right.
And it goes back to that one play that we watched of, I think it was the first run of the game last week. We did every single run last week against the Bucs, and the snap timing was off on the Calcaterra motion where he's coming back, and now he's got to completely take a detour into the backfield. That could be on the snap operation, it could be on the quarterback, it could be on Saquon Barkley, or it could just be Jahan Dotson, line up right? And that's the tough part about us on the outside. And we'll see if we get any kind of explanation from that in the post-game press conferences.
I know we're not going to break down the stills of these, but what did you think of the intentional grounding call being picked up, and the Zach Bond call, and the Dallas Goedert no call on the second to last play?
So the Dallas Goedert no call was brutal. That's and it's one of those, like, in that moment, is the ref really going to throw the flag? But if you are throwing the flag earlier in the game, like, you kind of need to throw it. I thought it was very funny. I mean, it's not funny for most of the people watching this, but I thought it was very funny that they did not announce that they picked up the flag on the intentional grounding.
So funny.
I agree with you. It was it very much seemed like they're avoiding getting booed off the field in this situation.
I mean, you got to take the music. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. To me, like, yes, that one, it's brutal from that respect. I could have gone either way on that one, and they were split on the broadcast, and you could see it either way. I felt like it was grounding, at first blush, but what are you going to do? And that's the thing with officiating, man. Like, you're going to get some games where it goes your way, you're going to get some games where it doesn't. And this one, clearly there were a handful that did not go the Eagles' way. I did think that the Zach Bond penalty, that was a penalty. Like, he's down on the ground. Bond came in late. As soon as it happened, I was like, oh, like, are they going to flag him? And of course, they ended up throwing it late.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I hated that one so much, Fran. Because, like, he's still lunging forward. I know by definition it's a penalty, but it's so freaking lame.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those where, like, as a defensive player, and Vinny, like, this, like, in the heat of the moment, like, you're just trying to go and make a stop. You're trying to bring up fourth down.
Yeah.
It was a split second too late.
All right, let's get to something that happened on defense in this game, which is it felt like when the Broncos offense did start to get going in the fourth quarter, some of that was attacking Kelee Ringo, especially on the 2-point conversion play, which gave them what turned out to be the game-winning score. Let's break that play down, Fran.
Yeah, so they come out, and basically, if we go to the first play, the first shot here, Julia, it's 2.1. So basically, they come out, and obviously, it's a 2-point play. So you got the ball down on the 2-yard line, and it's going to be off play action. And play action is like a long developing play, so kind of gutsy to call it here in this situation. And 2-point play, it could be fast moving. You want to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands fast, but this is going to be a quick route and a quick throw here from Bo Nix. But when you have the receiver from a tight split, if you are Kelee Ringo on this play, the receiver does have a two-way go. He takes that first step out of his stance as if he's going to run a crossing route across the field. And Troy Franklin, that's one of the things he does best, is he's going to run those crossing routes from left to right as a horizontal stretch player. And so Kelee is going to play outside leverage, and he's going to try and stay on his back hip. But then if you go to the next shot here, really, like, one step, puts his foot in the ground and breaks opposite. And it's a very untraditional route. It's not one that you see often. I would say, like, if I was watching one-on-ones during training camp or down at the Senior Bowl and a receiver ran this route, I would say, yeah, but, like, you don't run that in a game. Like, you never see this route. It was a nice route, a nice call against a bigger corner that isn't as, like, quick in transition as Quinyon Mitchell or as Cooper DeJean. Like, that one of the weaknesses from a physical standpoint for Kelee Ringo is that he's not as smooth in transition laterally as a smaller corner would be, right? But he loses leverage here, and Franklin's able to get to the pylon, and you go to the last shot, and Keelee's out leveraged, and he loses here on this play. It was a great play call, great route. That, to me, that's a tip of the cap play to the defense or to the offense.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I think you could tell part of the reason Peyton went for that is because he had a play in mind.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Right. He had that. He was like, yeah, this will be good to run here.
This is going to work.
Hey, Fran, you think bad timing? They picked on Ringo that second half, and then Slay's at the game watching. I'm like, oh, you could come on.
Well, and honestly, like, because you look over at Quinyon Mitchell too, and you say that look, and all of those back shoulder throws, like that was great coverage from Quinyon. He's just losing in the low post, right? Like, sometimes the other guy's just bigger, and I think that showed up here with Courtland Sutton. Quinyon played a good game. He was not as productive as he was last week against Igbuka, but he just lost in the low post 3 or 4 times on quick back shoulder throws in rhythm from Bo Nix, and that was one of the big differences in the game because it happened on a number of key situations.
Right. I thought Q fought his ass off.
Yeah.
But that last drive, especially with the 2-point conversion, they picked on Ringo 3 times in that drive.
Yeah, I would imagine that offensive coordinator, because especially like we talked about this last week when Tampa, they just kept targeting Quinyon Mitchell and kept targeting Cooper DeJean. And it's, I don't know, it's like, I don't want to say coaching malpractice is probably a little severe, but I don't know. You probably want to go at like the other side of the field. And I think Sean Payton probably took that one as far as notice, like, all right, that's something, let's avoid doing that whenever we can.
Fran, now I know tomorrow you may or may not get into this further, but what was your gut reaction on the A.J. Brown deep ball route stop? It looked like if he had kind of finished that route 100%, Jalen might have been right on the money. We might be talking about a W right now. What was your initial reaction to that?
Yeah, that looked to me as if AJ didn't think he was going to be getting the ball in that spot, and he slowed up, and that all it took was that one little hesitation, and all of a sudden it's an overthrow. That's what it looked like on first blush. I'll go back to the film and see, because we only got that one shot of it, and I was trying to find a better one on replay or on social. I couldn't find a good one there, but I think when they go back and rewatch that. That will be one of the like what if plays from this game. And honestly, I was looking at some next gen numbers, guys. Well, I was waiting to come on, and you might be surprised by this one. Jalen Hurts in this game. Hold on, let me pull this up. Jalen Hurts in this game, he threw the second most deep balls that he's ever thrown. He had 9 deep passes of 20+ air yards in week 10, second most of his career.
Huh.
He completed 2 for 99 yards and a touchdown. It's obviously a huge shift from what we had seen throughout most of the season. This was a big aired out game against an aggressive defense with a good secondary. They were only able to hit on a couple of those. Now, some of that is informed by the fact that like what if 4 of them happened in the final 2-minute drive, but even still, I mean, it was it seemed to be a point of emphasis here for the Eagles and for Jalen Hurts in this one is we are going to be aggressive down the field.
That's bad optics for AJ there.
Well, what I like it's terrible optics
after
for AJ.
this week.
They're gonna put that play up in front of the team, and it's gonna be like, what the hell, man? Like, this is what you wanted.
He was open.
You gotta run.
And here's the thing, right? Is if last week is squashed, if we're all better, then all right, hey, like we're moving on. Right. But if it wasn't all squashed and it was still like if that stuff is still lingering, then how much back and forth is there? And that's obviously we don't know that being on the outside.
Well, it's interesting you bring up the all the downfield passes, because this did really feel like they called the game that they think that like Jeffrey Lurie wanted to see to some degree or something like that, right?
Yeah.
The game that everybody's been asking for. They aired the ball out downfield. The RPOs were back. We're going to talk about that in a minute. It was much more pass heavy. I have the numbers here courtesy of True Media. This was the highest percentage of designed dropbacks for the Eagles offense since A.J. Brown came to the team in 2022. It's also the highest percentage of passes they've had on first down in that time frame as well. 80% pass on first down, which is kind of wild given what we've seen from this team, especially since Saquon got here. What did you make of the general plan of attack today? And was it in any way a function of what the Broncos defense was showing?
Probably a part of that as well. One designed running play in the second half of the game. Crazy. Now
one is called back for penalty, but yeah.
Yeah, right. But also, like, it's not like they were running it well. They had the 17-yarder in the first half on that stretch toss play to the left. I was actually set to break that one down for the show until the game tilted late in the fourth quarter. But I think when you're looking at this offense and this run game, last week we talked about, maybe they need some kind of philosophical shift. Clearly, they felt like that was necessary because they pivoted in such an extreme way here for this game. I do think that you get into the conversation of, all right, well, those RPOs, like they could have very easily have been handoffs to Saquon Barkley. So, and not even just the ones that came back on penalty, but, a couple of those little bubbles to Dallas or to Devontae Smith, a couple of the slide routes to Dallas Goedert. I mean, they ran at the very first play of the game. We hadn't seen any RPOs really like most of the season. Yeah. And then they came out and they just spammed it in a couple of different ways here in this one against Denver.
All right. Why don't you break down the Dallas Goedert touchdown? for the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, this was like vintage 2021 Philadelphia Eagles, vintage 2022 Philadelphia Eagles. When you look at what they were able to do with Jalen Hurts and with Dallas Goedert over the course of their careers together early on. Let's go to the first one, Julia. It's got Goedert TD1. And here on this play, you're going to see the mesh point here where, all right, Jalen Hurts is going to read the end man of the line of scrimmage, and he's going to read the second level of the defense as well. How are they playing this here? If you go to the next shot, Julia, you're going to see Devontae Smith work towards the middle of the field, and he's basically going to set the rub, set the pick for Dallas Goedert. He can't contact this defender, but he is entitled to run his route. So as long as he doesn't contact that number 2 defender, then he's going to be clean here on this play. Dallas Goedert, if we go to the next shot, Dallas Goedert is going to release to the flat. And so now you're probably going to get a pass off between those 2 defenders, but Dallas Goedert's going to have that ability with the head of steam. He's got to cross that defender's face. If you go to the next shot, Julia, you'll see that Dallas is able to win outside. Jalen rolls out. Nice, easy pitch and catch for a touchdown. Again, I mean, they ran this 4 or 5 times a game back in 2021, and back in 2022. This was one of their bread and butter plays, and they were able to hit here for a touchdown. They had all kinds of concepts off of this play. Is this a sign for the future? Maybe we'll see here in the coming weeks.
All right, Fran, any final thoughts or anything that we haven't asked you about that you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, I mean, look, defensively, it was not the cleanest effort in the second half. And a lot of this has to do with some of those key penalties, right? I mean, you have those key penalties, whether it's the picked up intentional grounding, the Zach Bond personal foul. Those are tough to come by. Then the offense is going to make some plays. This is a good team. This is when you're talking about the Denver Broncos. We talked about that this week, where they can beat you in a couple different ways. Their 2 losses this year, I know that they didn't. It wasn't like a sterling schedule in terms of the opponents that they played over the first 4 games, but their 2 losses came in the last second of games. So I think when you're looking at this team, it's a good team. You can't afford to make the mistakes that this team made on both sides of the ball.
All right. That is Fran's Film Room, presented by Ashley Fran. We'll talk to you on Wednesday this week. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Talk to you guys. See you later.
Thanks, Fran.
See you, Fran.